Hello and welcome back to the Crusades of the Purple Knight, an Eldritch Knight wizard life. We are sitting in the corner of the tavern in Deneith, sharing a well-earned beer with the Ironbreakers, and we've just picked up the 4 quests that I'm hoping to show you this time around for the quest side of it. I don't know if I mentioned it in the last one, the Blightcaster life. I did try to do this last time, and halfway through I got annihilated, so that sort of died a death. I don't know if it was a bit over ambitious on my part. I think I might have set higher than Reaper 1 for that and got a bit of a spiky damage, and that was it. Actually, this character is not too dissimilar to the Blightcaster in that he can handle, steady incoming damage with the Death Auras to heal him. I said Death Auras plural because we've now got the lovely Death Aura standard spell. And the two do stack, so if I tend to just use the bigger one of the two, but if I'm really in trouble I'll put the two on together and they do stack together, so that's nice. A bit like the Druid's Regenerate and Vigor line, those two will stack together. Plenty to tell you for this one. I've mentioned the spells already, so let's start with that. So we have 2 level 4 spells. Now there were all sorts of nice possibilities. The level 4 spells here are good. Can I see? Yeah. So some of these I've already taken from scrolls. The ones I picked on level up were Negative Energy Burst and DDO. After one of you had suggested about the rare scrolls, I actually found a Death Aura one on the auction house, so thanks very much to that for that. And the two we went with, especially because DDO is especially helpful in my opinion in the Feywild, we went with the DDO and the Death Aura. That one I think would be very helpful in a tight situation, surrounded and looking grim. But to be honest, if you're doing like we are here and not going over Reaper 1, I would be surprised if they too often got through your regular Death Aura thing. That's been doing really well for us. What I tend to do before I go into a contact, yes, Stephen, a contact, is, I'd never noticed I said that before you pointed it out. And no, I have no military background whatsoever. I think I'd be more the kind to hide under the nearest pile of rocks and wait until the gunfire was over. What was I saying? Yes, my standard now is 6, 7, 8, and perhaps 9 as well. So we've got Death Aura, Displacement, Haste, and Reaper Double Strike boost. Plus Rage as well. Rage is on a longer cooldown. All of these are extended. And the nice thing about 3 of them, the Death Aura, the Haste, and the Rage, they're AoE, so when you cast Rage and Haste, as you probably know, anybody who's played a Bard or a Wizard type, the whole group benefits. So in my case, the Skeleton gets it as well. I've noticed his health points going up a bit, so his strength will go up a bit, and he'll benefit from that Rage. And from the Haste as well, a faster attack speed. So that's nice. So yeah, these spells. Now, some of the others that we could have had at this level, I haven't. They're good, don't get me wrong. Fire Shield is situationally very good, but as you can see there, we've got it on a scroll, and that's no fail for us now. Stone Skin, I've got round that by putting it on a wand, and as you can see there in the description up at the top, from level 7, Wizard, Sorcerer, Warlock, Artificer, Druid, no fail casting of that, so that's very nice. It's a bit of a faff to switch to the wand and do it, but it's not too bad, and it gives you a 10 damage reduction, so that's very nice to have for a melee who's constantly in the middle of the fray. Just have to remember to recast it. If you were wondering where to pick up those ones, they are available from the seller in the Tower of the 12. It's just off to one side of the main room, and I think the place is called, it's labelled on the map, something like in the ruins. And there's a one seller in there that sells these ones of stone skin. So that's the spells. Did we have any others that we needed to show? I think we got an extra level 1, so I've added protection from evil. I don't think the deflection bonus or the resistance bonus are doing anything because we have those on our gear anyway. But warding from magical mental control and stuff sounds like a good plan, so I've stuck with that. So that's the spell side of things. Let's just show you the stats where we're at. Pretty similar to how we were before, but you might notice the PRR has gone even higher, and that's because we've taken the we've taken the 3 points in here now for the to boost up both our and the skeleton's PRR. Now the skeleton hasn't died once yet. Not that I've gone above Reaper 1, but we just quests done up to this point since the last episode. We just did the whole Feywild, so that's easy. Did the whole Feywild, took the saga, and here we are. I've actually got level 8. We've just passed for level 8, but this is the level 7 episode. So yes, beefed up the knight quite considerably. I'm still doing the lion's share of the damage, but the fact that he can hit quite hard is helpful, you know, in distracting things away from us. So that's nice. Otherwise, enhancements, as I planned to do, I've finished off more or less the healing amp in here. So we've got 30, 42, potentially 50 if I take that last point, negative healing amp. So that's strong. That's nice. And I think we get 10 more for the Shroud of the Lich as well. Yeah. So our death aura is ticking very nicely. Even in Reaper in combat, we're not doing too badly with that. Although in fairness, between the crowd control and the displacement, they're not getting too many decent hits in. At least that's the idea. To let you see which option I chose, it was a choice, if you remember, at the end of the last one for this third core between offense and defense. I figured we were doing well enough defensively to go with some more offense. So we've got some, not huge, but some negative damage on every strike there. And the nice thing is that description seems to be wrong, as I mentioned last time. The wiki is right, I think. It's not Vorpal, which would be a 20 only. It's on a crit. So as our falchion, if I can bring up the right key, damn it. As our falchion crits on a 18 to 20, that's happening quite often, and every time that happens the opponent gets an energy drain, so it's a nice bit of bonus damage boost there. So happy days on that score. Nothing else in that tree, so that's the enhancements. Gear wise, we have changed the odd bit. You'll recall me messing about endlessly with the trinket slot. Now we've got a blue raptor feather from the Isle of Dread in there. That's an excellent defensive item. Healing amp obviously is redundant for us because we're dealing in negative healing amp. Sheltering is very strong. That's PRR and MRR. Resistance is very nice to have for saves, and good luck just means an extra 1 bonus on saves. Although you'll point out that won't stack with the good luck bonus I have on my already on my amber pendant in the blue augment slot. So that particular bit is redundant. I've been struggling all the way through here ever since we dropped the runic trinket out of there. I've been struggling to find an item to go in there. And actually, there is still a compelling argument for keeping the runic trinket in, because one of the things it gives is I think it's 10 points of potency, so a bonus to all spell powers, and we don't have anything giving that at the moment, so there is an argument for leaving it in there. I added in a couple of other things. Now this was a really nice find in the Fey. Ring of Winter's Chill. Now you might have heard me complaining that our Eldritch Strike does force damage, which is affected by our force spell power, which was garbage. Well, I didn't even remember about this item, so we've got cold spell power there, and also force. So that's really nice to have. And landing on that reminded me, you might remember in the last one I was talking about this and could we have some negative or something. Well, I should have remembered, because Purple's end gear as a sort of an acid warlock has this item. It's obviously the legendary version, but there's a heroic one which I don't have. So it's got the acid spell power and crit, plus the negative spell power and crit that I was so looking for our ticking heals. I would love to have been able to slot that, the heroic version of that, into this slot. That would have been great. Otherwise, Admiral's Gumshoes, another item from the Isle of Dread, which I had in storage. Now this is an awesome item for this build. We've got Intelligence 5 for the spell DCs, and later on the hit and damage. Seeker 5 is great for the criticals. Speed, it's a bit redundant because we're always casting Expeditious Retreat, which is giving us 25% run speed anyway. But the Mythic boost for PRR and MRR, and we've got extra PRR with the Reaper enchantment on the bottom there, so that's nice. Otherwise, I think it's pretty much as you were. Now, I don't know if we were cruising through the Feywild, because this Ferrocrystal Falchion is particularly adept at slaughtering Fey. You can see the Feybane there. But I suspect it's going to do rather well against most other targets as well. I'm quietly confident, shall we say. So that's the gear. We've done the spells, we've done the enhancements. Yes, I ran into the first real problem in one of the Fey quests, the one where you have to chase the creatures to get the dragon egg back. Is it the Needle in the Fey stack, where there's a blink dog and then there's a raven all running around trying to get away from you? Well, obviously I had to get close to them because I was going to take forever using this little dart thing. I should probably have tried switching to that, because I succeeded in the end in dropping the web down and fixing them there with that. If I hadn't have had the crowd control, I dread to think what would have happened there, because I've had them in the past just run off and leave me, and I've not been able to find them on the map. So that was a bit interesting, but we got through it with the webs mostly. That one I've mentioned. Ah yes, I'd been moaning on about the ghost touch not being mentioned on the where is it? On here, and it isn't. But if you hover over the spell sword imbues themselves, we can see that ghost touch is mentioned there. So it is indeed supposed to be granted with the spell sword imbues. and it's working as intended. It's just not mentioned in that description there. Oh, there was one additional quest that I did, just because it's the first one in the Pirates saga. It's the level 4 one in the harbour, the Irestone Inlet. I'll put that in the description. You would really laugh if you saw these bits and pieces notes I make. It's on a little pad. I should probably be more organised and make a computerized note thing instead of scribbling bits and pieces and then struggling to read my own writing, crossings out all over the place. Yeah. One thing I was wondering about, a lot of the melee builds go into, if they don't have any other access to haste boost, go into this Vistani tree for the haste boost in there. Now, for the same reason I was reluctant to add this action boost immediately, I'm reluctant to go in there as well, because you'll see me clicking all these things fairly regularly, and it's already, I mean, these things are on a, what is it, a minute and a half cooldown, the shorter ones, and that's 30 seconds. So I don't know, I tend to like longer things, and then this is with extend on as well, so I'm glad we do have extend for that. I'm going to hold off doing that for now, because so many things to click. I'm invariably going to forget to do something anyway, and then it'll have been pointless investing points in there, won't it? I think with the haste spell and the displacement and the nice, that Eldritch Strike is still making a nice mess of things. I think it's does it say on there it goes up with the level we are. Yeah, 1 to 2 force damage per character level, and I would think that now we've got this, because doesn't that mention, yeah, when your Eldritch Strike deals 1 to 2 additional acid damage per character level. So the more we level up, the more we get that double blast, and I think that's going to stay relevant right the way to the end, which is nice. For those of you who are doing the Hardcore League, first of all, I hope you've been doing okay, not had any unfortunate deaths or miserable experiences. And I noticed there is a very nice thread in the forum regarding the locations of these special chests that you can visit to try and get the golden footprints thing for collecting all the special chests. Now, apparently you only have to do you don't have to do it on any great difficulty. You can do it all on normal if you so wish, and still get these footprints as your reward. I can see them being very useful for somebody who would like to lead others around, complex quests. Just follow the footprints, and yeah, I can see it being very useful for that, like as a replacement for those guiding hand things that people sometimes use. Oh yes, I switched us to the Reaper's steed because the looking at this sort of sinister undead looking thing, the Feywild unicorn didn't seem to be a good match, so we're on the Reaper's steed now. Oh yes, another nice thing about taking this third core, I obviously took it with the arcane spell failure reduction in mind, But it says there as well, melee weapons are considered spellcasting implements in your hands. So what that's done is given us a 6 bonus to our spell power, if you can see on the top of the description there, for having the sword. So that's nice. The rings I mentioned, the spells we've covered. I mentioned the fire shield scrolls and the wands of stone skin. Teleport scrolls we've got as well now. Now there's something funny going on here. I think a wizard must by definition get a much better chance to use this, because our UMD is nothing to write home about. Although I have invested points in it, we're only at 15. And yet we have an 85% chance to activate that, which is very nice. And I think the same level, Raise Dead is about the same level, isn't it? And I think we're on about a 0% chance for Raise Dead. So I'm thinking because we're a wizard, we get more chance to activate this one. That's all I can think of. In the fullness of time, I guess we'll have the teleport spell anyway. Although being able to use these at 100%, we probably shouldn't take it. Okay, that was that. Stone skin wand, yes. Tiny little bits. I couldn't get enough on this page. Yeah, we've done the casting implement. We've done the third core in the Pale Master tree. Discussed that. And what is that? I think we're about there with all the blurb. I'm gonna need to improve my note-taking technique. I basically just scribble something down as I think of it, and then it sort of gets lost in the mess of notes. Right, as I mentioned, we're going to try to break with tradition here, and instead of one quest, we're going to do 4 short ones. The depth chain here, which is the quest givers are here in Deneith, these 4 in the Deneith Tavern. Now I would recommend to always start with the despair one. They're labelled up as to which ones they are. The reason for starting with the despair one, you don't have to come back out and go back into the others. There's like an underground system that just follows on through to the next sewer at the end of each one. So if we start with despair, it'll just take us through all the others. So that's what I'm going to try and do. I think these first 2 are level 4, so we're a little bit over level for these. But the second 2 are level 5. Get the skeleton out. Now this is the skeleton's first outing in souped up mode, so we'll see if he does anything of note. Like to give him his blur before we set off. Probably spend longer doing the buffs than actually doing the quest here, because these are short little quests. So rage, death aura, displacement, haste, and just before we go into contact I will hit the Reaper boost. Let's try and web that guy. Come on, into the web. That's it. Beautiful. Now there's a trap here. Let's just stop the skeleton from going in there. And this could be a mimic, couldn't it? Are you coming? Okay. I think you can see there we're doing plenty of decent damage. There's a spider in there, isn't there? Okay, that's the energy drain level drain thing going off. Oh, the skeleton isn't with me, is he? Oh, he could do with a web, couldn't he? Something just popped up behind me there, but I'm kind of focused on this thing. Take that. Are we all good? Yeah. Beware the mimic. For mimics, I've been using colour spray to reasonably good effect. And there we have it. Oh, hello. Okay. That sticky effect that you just saw me suffering from, that is also on as a guard effect on the mimic cloak, if that's of interest.
It is oppressively dark.
So on to the second one.
A few flickering torches might provide enough light to fight properly.
I think there's enemies as soon as we come through here, so we're hitting the boost. Might have the odd one behind us. But I've got the skeleton. Oh, where did he? Did I leave him behind us? That's terrible. A red crown, he could have killed us both. I could have tried opening that with the open lock. It only unlocks that one when you've killed the whole group. But I think you can actually get in it if you don't want to kill them all. There's a trap here on the corner. Just keep running. Now, this way. Necromancer. Don't like the look of that. Let's recast the buffs. This is another reason to keep sort of running fairly quickly, because I'm conscious that the meter's running on my buffs and they are quite expensive to cast, so I want full value. There's a little lever just round the back of this thing to unlock the door on. The first time I think anybody comes here, they're looking at this closed door and thinking, well, what do I do now? Just try and tuck ourselves in behind this throne so they can't hit us while we open the chest. And of course we get a damn mimic. Okay. 2 down, 2 to go. Okay. going that way or oh, obviously we're going that way. Let the skeleton fight those things if he wants. Acid, always nice to have against the trolls. So we do, if we come across something that is being healed by acid or immune to it, we do have the option of switching to cold. We have that cold ring on, which as you can see is giving us a very decent cold spell power as well. We could have negative or poison or force, but we don't have any imbue options in any of those. How rude. I'm in the middle of buffing and I get assaulted. You see Reaper just popped up in there and got annihilated. There's nothing more satisfying than that. Oh, hello. I think this is the pile of big thingies, yeah. Don't be a mimic. Thank you. And onwards towards the last one. I think it's fair to say this run through is going somewhat more smoothly than the attempt the last life did. Although I was being a bit ambitious. I think I was trying it on Reaper 4 last life. Why I was doing that when I know that you lose everything if you have a setback, I don't know. Maybe I was testing where the limits are and the game promptly showed me. Oh, lost souls. That's one thing, I'm still fairly heavy on the spell points because these short-term buffs do cost quite a bit. you just stick to the middle in this thing, don't go on either side, there's a trap. And the skeleton just illustrated that very nicely, for as you can see the things going there. If I'd have had any kind of heart, I would have stopped him before he went in there. But it served to illustrate as well how robust he is, because he didn't seem to take too much damage from it, did he? Oops, wrong key. Is that skeleton intimidating opponents? It looks like he is. Well, that's even better for me. You intimidate away, pal. You can see the webs are working very nicely. Oh, they're working very nicely unless you get lag. Unless you get targeting like I just did there, which was a complete mess. Just clear these two up. And I would say that was a pretty good operation. Granted, I chose what are we were at the end of level 7 and we were doing level 4 and 5 quests, so let's not get too proud of ourselves, but still it's a lot better than having our asses handed to us, as was the case in some of the quests 2 and 3 levels ago. So I'm more than happy with where the build is now. This ticking heal, the defensive buffs, the offensive one, the haste and rage, the stone skin one now added to the layers of defense that we've got. It's all adding up to make a pretty and not forgetting the offensive output, which is not too shabby from what I can tell. So yeah, I'm fairly happy with the way it's going. It's clearing quests, you know, fairly fast, not being in too much trouble from having things in its face, because a lot of the time said things are being crowd controlled, so they're limited as to how much damage they can do to us. So happy days. I think we're taking shape. I guess the challenge will be to try to maintain the status quo going forward. Meaning, can we keep our damage relevant so that we're killing things fairly quickly, whilst at the same time keeping our spell DCs relevant enough to incapacitate them so they don't kill us fairly quickly. That kind of thing. I guess only time will tell. In the fullness of time, we're going to be looking to move up from web and colour spray to the mass hold whenever possible, and I guess that's going to be the acid test for whether the strategy is viable or not. I might have to rethink on the gear side if we find that the DCs just aren't holding up and the spell side of it is just not worth going down. I have a feeling we might do quite well with it though, because I've been looking in the enhancements, and I think we've already looked at this, haven't we? There's a +2 enchantment DCs in there for one of the cores. That's of our choice, so we could take that one potentially as a 4th core in the Pale Master tree. And then in here, I think it is, no, not there, there, yeah, look at that. Knight's Controller, another +2 enchant DCs, and +2 illusion, which would help colour spray, although to be that's a level 1 spell. To be relevant, that would need to be heightened. We could maybe consider taking heighten. I don't know at this point. I don't know. But we'll definitely make use of that one. I'm sure we will. Okay, I think that about wraps it up for level 7. Hope that was okay for you. Thanks as always for looking, and I will speak to you soon. Take care.